Aloha, my name is Ben Kaneaiakala, and thank you for joining me. I'm putting this presentation together entitled, We Are All Addicts. To some degree or another, we are all addicts. And I want to help change the stigma of this. We always think that, addicts are these alcoholic drug addicts or these sex addicts or these gambling addicts or whatever it is. But we all have addiction. All of us. As human beings, we are all addicted. So I wanted to put this video together to talk about this, to go over it, and see what you think. You know what I mean? So let's change the stigma of addiction. So what is addiction? And I went into the dictionary, I went into the web, I went places and tried to look up definitions. And I'm just going to throw out a few of these definitions. One of the definitions that I found is a compulsive, chronic, psychological or physiological need for a habit-forming substance, behavior, or activity having harmful physical, psychological, or social effects and typically causing well-defined symptoms such as anxiety, irritability, disturbances upon abstinence. That fits all of us. Just that description fits all of us. It doesn't even have to be a substance, Another definition, a strong inclination to do, use, or indulge in something repeatedly. Our thinking is that way. Our thinking is repetitive, and our thinking continuously lives in the past and in the future. All the time. Here's another one. The quality or state of being dependent. The quality of being influenced or determined by or subject to another. Addiction is a biophysical disorder characterized by repeated use of drugs or repeated engagement in a behavior such as gambling, despite harm to self and others. That's out of Wikipedia. Here's another one. Addiction is when the body or mind badly wants or needs something in order to work right. When you have addiction to something, it is called being addicted or being an addict. People can be addicted to drugs, cigarettes, alcohol, caffeine, and many other things. That's another description. Addiction is a psychological and physical inability to stop consuming a chemical, drug, activity, or substance, even though it is causing psychological and physical harm. Here's another one. The term addiction does not only refer to dependence on substances such as heroin or cocaine. A person who cannot stop taking a particular drug or chemical has a substance dependence. And here's the last one. Some addictions also involve an inability to stop partaking in activities such as gambling, eating, or working. In these circumstances, a person has a behavioral addiction. And that's out of the medical news today. All these definitions fit all of us to some degree or another. So we are all addicts. we are all addicts in some degree or another. In some instinct, and we have been given these 7 God-given instincts that I'm going to go over next, but we all have them, and we all misuse them. And they are, in some degree, we're addicted to 1 or 2 or 3 or some combination of them all. We're addicted. So what are our instincts? We call them the 7 deadly sins, character defects, defects of character, whatever they might be. But we have 7 of them. Pride and ego, anger, lust, greed, sloth, gluttony, envy. We have all of these. They were all God-given. So how do these 7 become defects, become an addiction? When we misuse these, when we use some of those definitions that I talked about in regards to what is addiction. Any of these things can be used or can be misused, and then a defect is created, a shortcoming, a struggle, a irritability, a disturbance, anger, lust, greed, gluttony, sloth, envy. All of these things are all these defects of character is between my two ears. And these will operate the way they're supposed to operate if we just stop getting into our thinking. They're already God-given, higher power given, if you like, for us to be able to function here on earth, for us to be able to do what we need to do, to drive, to walk, to talk, to work, to do all these types of things. And then what happens is that our thinking gets in the way, or our thoughts get in the way, and we're constantly living in the past or living in the future, and that's what creates the defects of character. So what does this all mean? Our addictive thinking is labels, identities, roles that we play, judgments that we have, images. Yeah, our thoughts create all these images, beliefs, values, stories, the narratives, the stories in our head about the past or the future, collective narratives of stories that was passed on by generations before us, and generations before us, and generations before us, and cultures before us, and the world before us, like all these collective narratives, rationalizations, justifications, minimizations, harmful. These things are harmful. All these things bring about harm. A warped obsession of the mind, stuck in time, past and future, either superior or inferior. That's where our thinking lives. It creates conflict. So we're constantly, as long as we're identified with our thinking, we are in conflict all the time. And ultimately, it creates all of these things is pain and suffering. And they're internal, and then they become external. And that's what our addiction to our thinking, or the fact that we are all addicts in some way or another, this is what this is all about. So what is the solution? We can get involved in a support group. We can get involved in 12-step programs. We can get into therapy. We can get into spiritual practices or meetings of some sort. But we just don't get into identifying with them. We get involved and to learn. Yeah. Get into service somewhere with no expectations. Get into service somewhere. Whether it's 12-step, whether it's a church, whether it's the local food bank or the homeless shelter or wherever it might be, get into service. Start working with a spiritual advisor, a teacher, a mentor, a therapist, or a combination of them all. Join a study group, focus on learning about self. Get into working the 12 steps, or get into working a spiritual book and start reading and discussing and learning, and then go out and practice it. Learn how to apply this into your life. Implement meditation practices. And there's no guidelines on this. You start wherever you want to start in regards to meditation. But meditation is the disidentification of the mind. So however you want to do that can be done during formal meditation time or informal meditation time. It literally can be implemented into everything that we do, from eating, drinking, water, walking, working with the kids, at work, wherever it might be. This disidentification of the mind can be done at all times. Non-identification with the thinking. What we're trying to do is get to eliminating all those addictive tendencies, the labels, the judgments, the rationalizations, the superiority, the inferiority, the words, the labels that we put on things, the values and beliefs that we grew up with, the continuous narratives that are going on within our heads. What we're trying to do is get to the place of disidentifying from our thinking. And then being. Start with breath. Bring attention to the breath. Quiet the thinking. Connect to a being. Eliminate the word God. God or Jesus or Buddha or whatever it might be, disidentify from that. Those words are so loaded and have created so much disturbance that we just need to get away from all of those labels and all of those words and just get into being. Being doesn't have history. Being doesn't have, it's not loaded with just pain body and just the collective narrative. Just connect to your inner being and make that a safe place, you know? So start with the breath, connect to our breathing, connect to our inner bodies, and just do that throughout the day. Bring space to that excessive, repetitive thinking that's going on. And that's the true addiction. The addiction of our thinking. So when we can disidentify from our thinking, we're closer to our being. We're closer to peace, love, and joy. True peace, love, and joy. Not peace, love, and joy that's found in the world. We tend to think that peace, love, and joy is found in people, places, and things. And it's not. None of those things is going to fill that. It's an empty, bottomless pit. If we think that we're going to try and fill that hole in the donut with people, places, and things, all those things, people, places, things are all short term. You know, because it's short term because it's all in between my two ears, in my thinking. And just when you try and fill it with something, then another thing. And then you're going to want more and more and more and more and more. And it'll never be more. It'll never be enough. So take some of the practices here in us disidentifying from the thinker. And hopefully you'll find some true peace, love, and joy in that. I hope that this video was helpful for you. But I just wanted to do this and say, we are all addicts in some way or another. Stop pointing the finger at everybody or those drug addicts or those these or these that's or the that, all the judgments. Let's eliminate all of that. Let's change the way we see things, you know, or the way that we've been condemning people. And let's just eliminate the whole thing of addiction, because to some way or another, we are all addicted to some way, and we have to get away from that, even that word, that label of addiction, and just be now, right here, like on my shirt. Be now. Yeah, there's so much peace, love, and joy in be now. I just got to tell you, it's so freeing. You know, so I hope this was helpful for you. Thank you. Please follow us on our social media, on YouTube here at Phoenix Rising Addiction Center, and on our website under Phoenix Rising Addiction Center, or Phoenix Rising Behavioral Health. Thank you so much for supporting us. Mahalo.